All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mayor Greg Fischer from Louisville, and we want to give you an update on the winter storm Landon. Since our last briefing at 11:30 this morning, we've seen the significant rain now transition into freezing rain, much as we'd expected. I'm going to share a few words here in Spanish throughout this, so our Spanish-speaking population can keep up with this. And desde nuestra última sesión de información de esta mañana, la lluvia ha cambiado a lluvia congelante. So we're still operating our Metro Emergency Operations Center here at a level 2, which means the center where we are right now is staffed with public safety and operations personnel who are monitoring the conditions and are ready to respond, and they're responding as we speak right now. We remain under an ice storm warning through the evening and into tomorrow. John Gordon, the incomparable John Gordon with the National Weather Service here, is with us now to provide us with some new words describing the conditions we're in and give us the latest on roads as well. So, John Gordon, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor Fisher. So there is some good news. Like the mayor said, so let's start off with what's going on. We have ice in the trees. I mean, we've been running between 31.0 and 33.5 all afternoon. And I've got a bunch of ice up in the trees. So it's probably the most of the accretion is about 15, 20 feet off the ground, which is a good thing. It's slowly coming down. The good news is the low, that is the big culprit now, we have the cold air in place, is a little slow. And because it's slow, bad for southern Indiana, good for Louisville and south, we're not getting as much down to the ground. So that will continue as we stay in the low 30s with rain, which is freezing rain below 32 degrees, and sleet. So our window for ice is between now and about 8 o'clock tonight. And the closer we get to 8 o'clock, we'll start transitioning over to some sleet and then eventually to snow. That's the main thing. So we'll go through the briefing slides here. We're still under the ice storm warning, like the mayor said. If we go to slide 2, we have the cold air slowly getting down south. It's on here, just like the mayor said. We're sitting around 31, 32, 33 degrees in the metro. If you look at the traffic maps, you can definitely see there's more problems in the northern part of Jefferson County and Oldham County than there is on the south side up towards Spencer and Bullitt counties, and that will continue. And travel will be more difficult the more north you go throughout the evening. Go to the next slide, please. So in Louisville, I like around a quarter of an inch down to the ground. Most of the roads right now, the major roadways, are okay. They're doing a good job with that. The problems will be in the next 2 to 3 hours where the temperatures stay more at 30, 31, which will allow some of the ice to cause problems on untreated roads, back roads, secondary roads, and bridges and overpasses are always a problem in these situations as it's been going down from the trees to the power lines and working its way down. We're getting a lot of reports in southern Indiana. We're all thankful, bad for them, good for us, that they're getting a half inch or more of sleet and freezing rain right now in some portions of southern Indiana as this thing is just taking its time to move and pivot to the south. So next slide, please. All the heavy rains down to the south, that's really not applicable for the Louisville area, but if you're going to Lake Cumberland, there could be some problems with some roadways and flooding. Go to the next slide. This is more pertinent for Louisville. Is basically from Louisville between about maybe 10 o'clock tonight to about midnight, 1 o'clock. There's a slot to get one as much as two. I don't think two is going to happen, but it will be sleet and some snow, and it will taper off as very light snow and light freezing drizzle on the overnight shift tonight. And this thing will be gone and bother other places on the East Coast. Like the mayor said earlier, this thing goes from Maine to Texas. This is an enormously long, huge system that's causing a lot of problems for everyone. Next slide. The winds have been running 10 to 15. We've had some gusts to 20, 22 at Stanford International throughout the day. Most of the wind problems are further to the north. And like I said, with the low taking its time, the cold air and the low didn't conjoin over Louisville as much as we had originally thought. I don't think we're going to get up to a half an inch. I think this is a quarter inch, mainly above the surface, but between say 7 and 8 and 9 o'clock, we have a small window to get it really down to the surface and cause a little bit more problems than we've been experiencing throughout the day. Next slide, please. And we do need reports. You got to report. The Weather Service cares 24/7. We may doze, but we don't close at Louisville, NWS Louisville. Send in your reports. If you tell me you got ice on your roadways and send a picture, we'd love to hear from you so we can do a better job for the Louisville Metro and all the citizens who are that we work for every day. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Thank you, John. What's the gelid report?
Well, I mean, it's gelid in the trees. There's no doubt. We have ice in the trees and in the power lines. Natasha will tell us all about that here in a minute. But it will be a very cold tomorrow night. Thank you for the tag. Tomorrow night, Friday night, single digits. Single digits. If you live in southern Indiana, it could be below zero. So it's gonna be very, very cold tomorrow night. So that truly is the last of the gelid air for a little bit. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that and really appreciate the great service from the National Weather Service. Okay, as we've been saying, these conditions are creating dangerous road conditions, potential power outages, and more. And that's why, again, we're asking everybody to stay home as much as possible during this period of dangerous weather. Es por eso que nuevamente les pido a todos que se queden en casa si es posible durante este tiempo de clima peligroso. So stay inside. If you must be out, I urge you to use extreme caution when you're driving or walking. Allow yourself extra time to reach your destination and give our snow team plenty of room to work. At this point, the roads are in fair shape, thanks to the hard work of the Metro Snow Team. Since this afternoon, 56 snow removing crews have been treating the roads with salt, and we still have plenty of salt on hand, so don't worry about that. Our team is going to continue working around the city, around the clock, for as long as possible to make sure the roads are safe. So let's get an update on the roads from our Metro Public Works Director, Vanessa Burns. Vanessa?
Good afternoon, Mayor Fisher. We're glad to report that since the freezing precipitation has come down starting somewhere just before 2 o'clock, we have for all our routes by our snow partners, including Public Works, vacant lots, swims, and we have completed to the first pass about 50% of our routes. And if you look at the snow map, you'll see that when we first started at 2 o'clock, the snow map was red. If you go out and go look at our snow map, you'll see that there are more and more green. So that means that we're working towards all the routes that we have. We have 111 routes, and you'll see that the snow map reflects our progress. We will continue throughout the evening. We will have a shift change after 7 o'clock, and we will be at it all night. Our activities will be dependent on the kind of precipitation that comes. Like John has said, it starts at freezing rain, and then it might go to sleet, and then it will go to snow. So we will, as an agency, make determinations on the best treatment. And I just want to remind everybody that Jefferson County is a huge county, and one part of the county might be doing one thing, and another part of the county might be doing another. So regardless, our snow team will be working throughout the night to affect as best we can to have the roads in good condition by the morning, or based on when the precipitation and how much comes down.
All right. Thank you, Director Burns. We appreciate your tireless commitment to the task at hand. So please give our thanks to the snow team, if you would. Now,
Thank you.
people are listening, so I can report that we're seeing a 25% decrease in calls for service. So that tells us that people are staying off the road. So really appreciate that. That's how everybody can contribute to making this so far relatively calm. So please stay home and only go out if you need to for home and medicine or essential work. And now also be alert for slush on the roadways in case that creates a standing water danger for us. We are seeing, as we've seen in past ice storms, that accumulation can cause tree limbs to snap, creating the potential for power outages. So far, we've got that relatively under control. And Natasha Collins from LG&E is going to join us right now and share a little bit more about that. Natasha, thanks for being with us.
Thanks a lot, Mayor Fisher. And you said it, at this point, not seeing a whole lot as far as any extensive impacts across our service territories at this time. At last check, we had about 2,000 customers impacted in the LG&E service territory. We've had less than a handful of wires down and no broken poles. That being said, we do continue to be prepared as prepared as possible for what we know has the potential to come in over the next several hours and overnight. We also continue to keep safety the top priority, which is why I'm going to continue to stress that if you do come across a wire down, please treat it as an energized power line. Stay away, give us a call. The number is right there. Thank you. And let us know where it is so that we can make sure that that location is safe. Also, an easy way to keep track of how any weather is impacting our service territories is the app. That's what I'm using just to give you the latest numbers right now because it is the most current. And you can keep track of how the weather is impacting our service territories. So again, we continue to be as prepared as possible. We have plenty of resources and we are evolving our plans as the weather changes. But again, safety first, that's the top priority. And back to you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Natasha. Appreciate that. And again, please give our thanks to all the folks that are out there making sure things are working properly in this really inclement weather. All right, for libraries and parks, our Louisville Free Public Library branches and our parks in-person facilities, so that includes community centers, the golf clubhouses, not the golf courses, the Mary T. Maher Aquatic Center, Locust Grove and Farnsley Mormon, Jefferson Memorial Welcome Center, and the Creason Administration Building will remain closed tomorrow, Friday, will remain closed. We have several other closings we want to make you aware of. The Louisville Zoo will remain closed to the public tomorrow. You'll be probably entertained to know that zookeepers will be on site caring for and feeding the animals. They have stayed in touch with us, and the polar bears and penguins are reporting, again, just really they're happy with these conditions and wish these conditions were like this 365. We don't, but we're glad they're happy today. The Waste Reduction Center, the has-been and staffed recycling locations will be closed tomorrow. And our Louisville Metro Animal Services Animal House Adoption Center will also be closed tomorrow. But if you see a pet that's left outside without proper shelter, please call LMAS, the Animal Services, at 502-473-PETS, P-E-T-S. And remember, it's going to feel calm or warm tonight compared to what's going to be happening tomorrow. Okay, single digits, possibly close to zero, so it's going to get real cold on Friday night. You can check out a lot of our city services online. Encourage you to do that. You can stay up to date at louisvilleky.gov. That's also where you can see the snow map. All right, let's talk about schools. As you've probably heard, JCPS announced earlier this afternoon that tomorrow will be a traditional snow day. In Spanish, las escuelas públicas del Condado Jefferson anunciaron esta tarde que mañana estarán cerradas debido a las condiciones del clima. Okay, they're going to be closed, public schools closed because of the weather. After-school activities, including athletics on Friday, will be canceled. Bummer. JCPS will announce a decision tomorrow about Saturday's extracurricular activities. MSD, our sewer district. MSD has brought in additional personnel to ensure they continue the vital services of wastewater treatment and flood protection. You can see some of that when it gets real wet like this. Also clearing of drains that are backing up. So those services will continue uninterrupted. However, MSD has sent home its customer response crews to make sure that they get home safely. But if residents have a service issue, it's easy. Just call MSD at 502-540-6000 or at customerrelations@louisvillemsd.org. You can see that on the screen. So you will continue to take care of business throughout all this weather. COVID testing sites. Testing is still really high because this Omicron variant is still with us to high degrees. We hope it's plateaued. We know it's plateaued. We see it going down, but still at high levels. So a lot of people are continuing to get tested, which is a good thing. But Blue Water Diagnostics, they were closed today. They'll make a decision at 6 p.m. regarding operations tomorrow at the Churchill Downs testing site. And a lot of testing providers may be closing early or changing operations due to this weather. So we just encourage you just to check their websites out, call ahead for the most up-to-date information possible. Our vulnerable residents, we're always thinking about that, especially homeless folks right now. So we're working with the Coalition for the Homeless and other outreach partners, including Feed Louisville, to do whatever we can to help our most vulnerable folks get out of this weather. Operation White Flag, it's in effect. That's when it's 35 degrees, including wind chill. So obviously we're there right now. So it's in effect. And our director, Tamika Laird, has been in contact with local shelters. Please note, shelter space is available. Day shelter space is available at the Salvation Army and Wayside Christian Mission as well. For nighttime shelter, there were 22 beds available last night, including 2 at the low barrier shelter space at Wayside. And low barrier means that you don't need to call for a bed ahead of time, or it means whatever condition you show up in, they'll let you in, and that you'll be accepted anytime here during the White Flag operation. So all persons needing shelter can stay at the participating shelters while these White Flag conditions persist. And again, our participating White Flag shelters include Wayside Christian Mission, 432 East Jefferson Street, St. Vincent de Paul for men's only, 1034 South Jackson Street, and the Salvation Army Center, which is a day shelter only at 911 South Brook Street. So to locate the nearest shelter and to reserve a bed, residents also can call the single point of entry line at 637-2337, 502-637-2337 to reserve a bed. If you're unsure of your status at a White Flag site, just contact the shelter and they'll let you know. Fire. Louisville Division of Fire has responded to 2 structure fires today. LFD arson investigators have determined the cause of one of those fires to be combustibles placed too close to a propane space heater. So please, I want to stress the importance of safely using alternative heating, generators, gas space heaters, and fireplaces. Really think through that if you're going down that route and check the conditions around those alternate fire sources. So please be safe. Accidents always happen, but they're accidents. We don't plan for them, but we can mitigate the possibility. Also, just a reminder to check on your loved ones and neighbors, not just tonight, but especially as things start getting really cold going into Friday and Friday night. All right, so we want to do everything we can to keep everybody safe. Obviously, the government is just trying to help create the conditions, but it's up to each and every one of us. We've got 780,000 Louisvillians and 1.5 million or so here in the viewing area. So please reach out and be the good people that we were all born to be. With that, happy to take any questions.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. We have one question in the chat, and we may need to get back to the reporter with this answer, but I wanted to go ahead and read it. Tara Bassett says, our houseless friends are in a bad way, and outreach groups are putting them up in hotels, even though the rates are similar to regular hotels for houseless friends. She asks, why is Hotel Louisville closed indefinitely due to COVID? And we may need to get back to her on that question.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a capacity issue there or whatever, but Tara, we'll get back with you on that and appreciate your empathy and activism toward our houseless friends. There are beds available at the shelters, as we've talked about before, and places they can go to stay warm during these conditions. Also, just FYI, our safe outdoor space for our homeless population will be opening here by the end of the month or so, so that'll be an additional place that people will be able to get services. So we're looking forward to that.
Okay, our next question comes from Mark Vanderhoff with WLKY. And Director Burns, this question is for you. He asks, what challenge has the rain presented in regard to treating roads?
I think initially the biggest challenge was the precipitation was delayed. And as a result of that, we were not able to begin to place the materials, the salt, onto the roadway until the freezing rain started. So there was quite a bit of water that was on the ground. And so until the freezing rain started, we couldn't, it wasn't efficient for us to be utilizing our rock salt. But since about 2 o'clock, when the ice pellets were coming down and everything, we're in a position. And as you remember, our snow team has been at the ready since 7:30, 8 o'clock this morning.
Okay, thanks, Director Burns. And Mayor, there are no more questions in the chat.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. So if you're on the road, now is a good time to get off the road because it will be getting a lot worse here, especially as it gets dark outside, which is imminent. So thanks, everybody, for your patience, and thanks for staying home, too. We see that in the outcomes here at the Operations Center, and we certainly hope that continues, and it will with your help. So take care, and again, we'll talk soon.